Hello everyone, myself Akshita from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today I am going to explain about file concept and access methods. Contents: Introduction to file concept, file structure, file types, file attributes, file access methods, conclusion. Introduction to file concept. The operating system can provide a logical view of the information stored in the disks. This logical unit is known as a file. The information stored in files is not lost during power failures. A file helps to write data on the computer. It is a sequence of bits, bytes, or records, the structure of which is defined by the owner and depends on the type of the file. The file can be explained as the smallest unit of storage on a computer system. The user can perform file operations like open, close, read, write, and modify. File structure. A file structure needs to be predefined format in such a way that an operating system understands. It has an exclusively defined structure which is based on its type. A file has a certain defined structure according to its type. Three types of file structure are as follows. A text file. A text file is a series of characters that is organized in lines. An object file. It is a series of bytes that is organized into blocks and that are also understandable by the machine. A source file. A source file is a series of functions and processes. File type. File type refers to the ability of the operating system to differentiate various types of files like text files, binary, and source files. However, operating systems like MS-DOS and Unix has the following type of files. Ordinary files. An ordinary file is a file on the system that contains data, text, or program instructions. These files are used to store your information, such as some text you have written or an image you have drawn. This is the type of file that you usually work with. They are also located within or under a directory file. The ordinary files are at the end of path and cannot support other files. Directory files are another type of file that store both special and ordinary files. For users familiar with Windows or Mac OS or Unix, directories are equivalent to folders. A directory file contains an entry for every file and subdirectory that it houses. If you have 10 files in a directory, there will be 10 entries in the directory. Each entry has two components, that is, file name and a unique identification number for the file or directory, which is called the inode number. These directory files are the branching points in the hierarchical tree. These files are used to organize group of files. These files may contain ordinary files, special files, or other directories. They never contain real information which you would work with, such as text. Basically, just need for organizing files. The directory files can directly be connected by a path called parents, closer from the node, and children further from the root. Another type is special files. The special files are used to represent a real physical device, such as a printer, tape drive, or terminal used for input-output operations. Device or special files are used for device input-output on Unix and Linux systems. They appear in a file system just like an ordinary file or a directory. On Unix systems, there are two flavors of special files for each device, character special files and block special files. When a character special file is used for device input-output, data is transferred one character at a time. This type of access is called raw device access. When a block special file is used for device input-output, data is transferred in large fixed size blocks. This type of access is called block device access. File attributes. The file system stores file attributes in the file's data block. The file system also uses dynamic file attributes which are automatically appended to or subtracted from a file's data block when the file is modified. Different file attributes give information about the file. These are name. This is the only information stored in a human readable format. A name is given to each file. One directory cannot contain two files with the same name. Extension. This attribute is required for systems that support different file types. For example, a text file as a TXT extension and a video file as a MP4 extension. Location. Location refers to the location of the file on the device. The file system has several places where you can save your files. Each file contains its location as an attribute. Size. File size means the number of bytes captured by the file in memory. Identifier. Each file is identified by a unique tag number within the file system called an identifier. Protection. This attribute assigns and controls access to read, write and execute files. Computer administrators may need different protection for each file. Therefore, each file has its own permissions on different user groups. Compression. Compression tells the type of compression that is there in the file. Created or modified data. Each file has a timestamp that includes the data and time the file can be modified. File access. When a file is used, information is read and accessed into computer memory, and there are several ways to access this information of the file. Some types provide only one access method for files. Other systems such as those of IBM support many access methods, and choosing the right one for a particular application is a major design problem. There are mainly three ways to access a file into a computer system. They are sequential access, direct access, index sequential access. File access methods. First one, sequential access. It is the simplest access method. Information in the file is processed in order, one record after the other. This mode of access is by far the most common. For example, editor and compiler usually access the file in this fashion. Read and write make up the bulk of the operation on a file. A read operation, read the next position of the file and automatically advance a file pointer, which keeps track input-output location. Similarly, for the write next, append to the end of the file and advance to the newly written material. Data is accessed one record right after another record in an order. When we use read command, it moves ahead pointer by one. When we use write command, it will allocate memory and move the pointer to the end of the file. Such a method is reasonable for tape. Advantages of sequential access method. It is simple to implement this file access mechanism. It uses re-excographic order to quickly access the next entry. It is suitable for applications that require access to all records in a file in a specific order. It is less prone to data corruption as the data is written sequentially and not randomly. It is a more efficient method for reading large files as it only reads the required data and does not waste time reading unnecessary data. It is a reliable method for backup and restore operations as the data is stored sequentially and can be easily restored if required. Disadvantages of sequential access method. If the file record that needs to be accessed next is not present next to the current record, this type of file access method is slow. Moving a sizable chunk of the file may be necessary to insert a new record. It does not allow for quick access to specific records in the file. The entire file must be searched sequentially to find a specific record, which can be time consuming. It is not well suited for applications that require frequent updates or modifications to the file. Updating or inserting a record in the middle of a large file can be slow and cumbersome process. Sequential access can also result in wasted storage space. if records are of varying lengths. The space between the records cannot be used by other records, which can result in inefficient use of storage. Second, direct access. Another method is direct access method, also known as relative method, a fixed length logical record that allows the program to read and write record rapidly in no particular order. The direct access is based on the disk model of a file, since disk allows random access to any file block. For direct access, the file is viewed as a numbered sequence of block or record. Thus, we may read block 14, then block 59, and then we can write block 17. There is no restriction on the order of reading and writing for a direct access file. A block number provided by the user to the operating system is normally a relative block number. The first relative block of the file is 0 and then 1 and so on. Advantages of direct access method. The files can be immediately accessed, decreasing the average access time. In the direct access method, in order to access a block, there is no need for transposing all the blocks present before it. Disadvantages of direct access method. Due to its complexity, the direct access technique is often difficult to implement. Because individuals may access or modify sensitive information, organizations may suffer security risks as a result of direct access. As a result, new security procedures must be implemented. Direct access methods in file access methods in operating systems requires a long time. It has a higher overhead compared to sequential access, as we need to determine the location of data before accessing it. Reading the data sequentially can be time consuming. Sometimes it leads to fragmentation, which will automatically lead to wastage of storage and hence the reduction in performance. Third type is index sequential method. It is the other method of accessing a file that is built on the top of the sequential access method. These methods construct an index for the file. The index, like an index in the back of a book, contains the pointer to the various blocks. To find a record in the file, we first search the index and then by the help of pointer, we access the file directly. It is built on top of sequential access, and this index sequential method can also control the pointer by using index. Advantages of index sequential method. Since each record has its data block address, searching for a record in larger database is easy and quick. There is no extra effort to search records, but proper primary key has to be selected to make ISAM efficient. This method gives flexibility of using any column as key field and index will be generated based on that. In addition to the primary key and its index, we can have index generated for other fields too. Hence, searching becomes more efficient if there is search based on columns other than primary key. It supports range retrieval, partial retrieval of records. Since the index is based on the key value, we can retrieve the data for the given range of values. In the same way, when a partial key value is provided, say student name starting with JA can also be searched easily. Disadvantages of index sequential method. An extra cost to maintain index has to be afforded. That is, we need to have extra space in the disk to store this index value. When there is multiple key index combination, the disk space will also be implemented. As the new records are inserted, these files have to be restructured to maintain the sequence when the record is deleted. The space used by its need to be released. Elsewhere, the performance of the database will slow down. Conclusion. In conclusion, file access methods play a crucial role in data management and processing for software applications. Furthermore, the choice of sequential, direct or indexed file access method depends on the specific application requirements, including the size and nature of the data being processed. A file is a collection of bits or bytes or lines, which is stored on secondary storage devices like hardware. In sequential access, the operating system reads the file word by word in a sequential manner to enable quick access to the next entry. In direct access, there is no need to transverse all the blocks that come before the required block to access the record. In index sequential access, we maintain an index table that appropriately arranges the pointers to access the desired records very quickly. Thank you.